Well, as a motorcycle journalist, it's not often you get invited out to ride something that's not a motorcycle. So a real novelty. We're out here west of Sydney at Wylde Mountain Bike Park at the invitation of Yamaha, who some of you may have heard and seen pictures of this beast. Yamaha's all-new YDX-Moro 07. Not a marketing dream, doesn't exactly roll off the tongue. But look, a really interesting thing, and talking to some of the guys at Yamaha, they're really excited. They said they haven't seen so much excitement in some of their staff, offering, basically extending, the range of their product offering, and they're going to offer these things, full suspension, electric power assist mountain bike through their dealership network. So this is Matt Holmes, OG gangster, mountain bike gangster. Launched Revolution magazine, launched 2020 magazine, has ridden Salt and Snow, on an e-bike, and has been around. Matt and I have known each other for 30 years, and we ride acoustic bikes, yes. Most of the time together now. But Matt, you've had a lot of experience on the e-bikes, and that's really why I've got Matt here. I'm a moto guy who rides mountain bikes as a bit of a, keep fit thing. But Matt's, one of the most experienced guys in the country and has sort of seen everything, come and go. But I guess top line, Matty, let's just talk about this thing. Where does it sit in the market?
I think Yamaha's made a really smart move and just brought out I wouldn't say conservative, but a really solid entry into the e-mountain bike world. It's not too aggressive in the geometry. It's got an incredibly beautiful frame package with the dual twin spar frame. And it's got a nice long end, long rear end, and then their world-renowned engine, which punches out somewhere in the vicinity of 85 Newton meters of torque, which is phenomenal. And it's got a 500 watt-hour battery. So it's not at the leading edge of e-bike technology, but it's definitely no slouch. It's right in, I guess, the middle.
The thing that Yamaha make a big point about, quite rightly, is for 30 years, since 1993, the PAS, power assist system. So they've been developing these electric motors, or the power assist motors, I think most recently people would know, I think they're in Giants. They've been in Giants, I want to say about since 2015.
Yes, at least, yes.
Yeah, but this is the latest generation, the PWX3 version of it, a little bit more compact, narrower, and the mapping that they're talking about is something different again.
Yeah, the biggest thing I've always found with a lot of e-bikes is the power coming on and the power going off can be quite abrupt. Yeah. And that leads to issues in technical climbing. You've got too much torque, or it's coming on too late, a bit of lag. But Yamaha have been working, like you said, 30 years, and they've really tuned how this thing comes onto the power. I want to say on the pipe, it's on a two-stroke. But it is very, very smooth and quite intuitive. You still need to use all your gears, but that power comes on strong. Like coming out of the corner or a pinch climb, it doesn't kick too hard, but it's just there as if you are just pushing down.
Yeah, totally. And I've only dabbled with mates' bikes and gone for a ride here and there. I would have ridden half a dozen of them, and I noticed either they had a lag when you push and wanted the power, or worse still, it kind of ran on. So when you're often still driving you, which just messes you up. But I think that, the main thing, and quite rightly, Yamaha are making the point, they're the only manufacturer on the market that make both frame and motor, and a lot of this twin spar or dual twin spar, so you've got a wishbone effect here and a wishbone here that the 3 kilo battery, 500 watt battery sits in, 3 kilos of it. So they're, what they're saying is that because it's not just like taking parts and cobbling it together, they've actually designed the bike around the battery, around the motor, right? And then tacked on some some RockShox suspension. So looking at the bike in terms of how coherent, how harmonious the design is that right? Are
Yes.
Yamaha on the money with that?
Yes, they are. Again, after a couple of hours riding the bike, it's incredibly well balanced. It's not too aggressive, it's not too, I guess, conservative. It handles very well, like in extremely good balance. Yeah. It corners quite well. It's not as, I guess it's the opposite in the bike world. We have a 66-degree head angle. I mean, a lot of the current top-end mountain bikes are running even slacker geometry.
Which I feel feels weird. I'm glad they've gone back there.
It is a different way of riding, but top tube length is great for the medium, and the rear end has got quite good length to it, which adds to stability. So it's not a bike that's going to be out of control on you. It's a really solid, it's an incredibly well thought out starting.
Yeah, as we said, so it's $9,000 through Yamaha dealers only at the moment. Yes. So I think out of 100 odd Yamaha dealers, it's going to go to 55.
Yes.
Guys put their hand up for it.
Yeah.
Quite an investment in terms of training their staff and some marketing collateral to assist that. Landing in dealers, in May.
Yes.
But look, you know, people are always going to go, well, what do I get for my $9,000? Just give us a quick top line overview for, I guess, a moto guy. You know, what sort of running gear, drivetrain, brakes, etc., man?
For sure, drivetrain is second from the top. And Shimano XT, it's bomb-proof reliable. It's ridiculously smooth shifting, 12 speed on the back. So that's all the range you're going to need to go up and down, pretty much anything. One of the highlights for me though is the Magura brakes. That's it's a high-end spec brake. You don't see Magura spec'd on a lot of stock bikes, and they are honestly one-finger stoppers. You can have this thing up on the front wheel, just like that, and if you want to turn with the rear, it's all about it. Suspension-wise, we are looking at RockShox. They've got a Lyric Select on the front, so it's a really easy shock to work with.
160 mil.
160 front, 150 rear. Runs a debonair charger, which is the damping cartridge, which is 8 clicks, I think, top to bottom. Rebound adjustment on the bottom. Set your sag by your weight with the air in that leg. So it's a very easy system to set up. On the rear, same thing, a debonair. This model shock is the Super Deluxe Select. Again, very, very easy setup. It does have a compression lockout if you want to pedal up hills, but what motorbiker ever wanted to lock their suspension out?
Yeah, absolutely. So in terms of the relative pricing, you know, like I think what Yamaha said is they've almost reverse engineered the bike. They sort of said, look, if we're going to introduce this to our moto customers, we want something that's most aligned with what, you know, people see at WR or YZ, you know, YZ sitting there in the dealership, right? Twin spar frame, yeah, I get it, looks the good. So, you know, I think this is going to be, you know, by their own admission, the first of probably many models. I think they'll have up spec, down spec, all kinds of stuff.
Oh yes.
But, you know, in terms of comparable price and spec on other bikes out there, it's kind of in the money, right?
It is.
On the money.
Yes. I mean, the bike industry has seen incredible growth with e-bikes, and Yamaha and the whole bike industry know that over the next years, e-bikes are going to outsell traditional bikes.
Well, yeah. Well, they're saying 2028, but we see when we're riding some tech stuff up on the northern beaches, some days we see more than half, even 2/3 of people on
at least.
Yeah, pedal assist.
Yes. So, I mean, pedal assist is happening whether you like it or not. Traditional riders on normal bikes might not be as excited, but that said, these bikes can get you out on trail quickly. You don't need to drive to where you're going, and you can cover a lot of ground on this. Power assist cuts out at 25 kilometers an hour. That's
a bit annoying, actually, like because you get to 25 pretty quick on these things.
Oh yeah, but the great thing with the Yamaha engine is there isn't a lot of drag like some of the other systems. So once you top out, you do really have to push the bike, and you feel it. Where the Yamaha engine, it is so smooth after you get above that. You can just keep pushing it faster and faster.
It's always been known for being a grunty engine.
Yes.
You know, interesting without, you know, getting lost down to bloody, you know, all the modes, but it's really interesting. You've got your standard, your eco, your standard, your high, but then you've got I think it's a mountain bike specific mode.
Yes.
But the interesting one is an auto, which actually adjusts and changes modes on the run according to a whole lot of parameters, like including incline and torque and all kinds of stuff.
So it's pretty much like an IMU on a high-end adventure bike now. It's reading from a sensor on the rear, in the engine, and somewhere in the system in here, it's got an incline sensor, which is quite incredible. So if you leave it in that auto mode, it will adjust the power, which is pretty damn good tech. Yeah. And something I hadn't seen as yet on other brands.
Yeah. So coming back to sort of the reverse engineering, you know, Yamaha's basically said, we're not just, you know, it's open stated. What they're specifically targeting someone who's a Yamaha customer, you know, a guy who maybe has got some toys, got some cash, got a dicky knee, can't keep up with his mate's mountain biking because he's not fit enough. Yes. You know, they're targeting that guy, and you know, the guy for which, you know, Yamaha's reliability and all those other brand attributes really kind of mean something. Yeah. What's your thoughts about it being exclusively through moto dealers, not through bicycle shops?
I really think it's an incredibly smart move by Yamaha to do this. If they manage to get into the bike industry stores, getting those bikes to have enough floor space is going to be a massive issue. So Yamaha's got a market just there waiting for them. They walk into a store, they see the bikes on a stand. There's all the gear, there's the apparel, there's the extras you can get, extra batteries, and you know you've got the workshop at the back that can service it. So you don't have to go into the unfamiliar bike shop where you feel way out of your league. Yeah. I think Yamaha is incredibly smart by doing it through their deals.
Yeah. A few guys saying a little bit heavier than the average bike. I think 23 to 25, depending if you go from a small frame through to a large. So a little bit, again, this comes back to what you said, it's a conservative, safe, robust model. They've only offered one of them, but who's not to say that there's going to be an up-spec thing that's dropped 5 kilos down the track?
I can see that happening straight away, and I guess you could go carbon, that'll drop a huge amount of weight. But durability in an aluminium frame, I think, outweighs the extra money you're going to pay to drop a kilo off the weight.
Yeah. Well, man, I put my hand up for a long-term one of these, and
Excellent.
let's just say they didn't say no. So, mate, look, I had a ball today. It's been really interesting mucking around with different sort of setups. We've got a little bit mucking around the suspension, so we're going to do a little bit more this afternoon. But yeah, for me, everything that you said, super smooth in terms of the weight drive. You feel comfortable and right at home. Like I think mainly because it mirrors the kind of like, you know, the geometry I'm used to on a motor. You know, so automatically jumping and everything, I was much more comfortable. It takes a while just to get used to, you know, how to use the gears, and you have to use them quite a bit. You use the dropper post, that's the other thing that we sort of said. That's a super cool dropper. You know, I use that almost like as a gear as well. But I think that balance, you know, when it's not tucking, when you tuck something into a, you know, on some of this dusty dry stuff here, and you're like, oh, if there's ever a balance mismatch in terms of weight wise front to rear, you're going to feel it there. So yeah, I was pretty damn impressed with the thing. So mate, I think you'll be trying to scam a ride from me every time we go out over the next little while.
Definitely, I will be trying to keep up without the battery, yeah.
Yeah, but look, a big thanks to Yamaha. It's a pretty exciting time for those guys, expanding their product range. Kind of nice for us for moto guys to be able to, you know, just to sort of broaden our horizons a little bit and looking at these things as well. And, you know, most moto people, moto riders, guys and, you know, females train on these things.
Yes,
so,
of course.
you know, I think it's a really big opportunity for Yamaha, and, you know, it'll be really, really interesting to see where these things are going to go.